Kara, tell us what's going on at Yahoo.
Well, they're doing what we said on All Things D they were going to do. They're laying off 2,000 employees throughout the company, mostly in products, research, and marketing. But it's a massive layoff, their largest one. It's I think the sixth in so many years, in a couple of years. But it's the biggest one and most significant one.
And you say in your story today on the website that there's still more to come.
Yes. I think their goal is to get to 5,000 or more. One of the issues is there's two businesses they're thinking of selling. One is the ad tech business, Right Media and APT, and the other is the search business, and that employs about 2,500 people. And so they're trying to move them out of Yahoo. It wouldn't be a layoff, but they're trying to rid themselves of those employees too, by way of a transaction or a joint venture. So that's another 2,500, and then they'll still be contemplating other cuts as they do the restructuring, which comes next week.
And so how much money is Yahoo going to be able to save with this? Is this going to make a dent in their business in terms of the problems they've been having lately?
Well, they $75 million, they say, and they're going to take a charge in the second quarter of, I think, about $125 million for the severance agreements. And so, they're saving money, but, you can't cut your way to growth. And that's the real issue is can they then use this nimbler, that's what they were using the term, nimbler Yahoo, to create a better Yahoo and get back to a growth pattern, which they haven't had in years. It still remains a very profitable company, so it's just a declining profitable company.
Any sense of what the mood is like in Sunnyvale at Yahoo's headquarters?
I think one of the problems is this company's, this new CEO has been very, he's been saying real change is coming, but the specifics haven't really been forthcoming. And so, unfortunately, our site and others have really given the Yahoos the news of what's about to happen to them. So, any layoff is bad, even though it's a very good employment situation in Silicon Valley, and most of the really good people will get jobs. It's still not good to lose your job. And there's news trucks parked out front of the place, as people are actually leaving. A lot of people are having to leave today. So it's just, these are never it's not a good story anywhere in the country where layoffs occur.
So you mentioned there were a few divisions being targeted here, but is there one that's really particularly hard hit?
Yes, product division. They've blown it up, essentially. What the previous administration had put product as a separate group, and now they're spinning it back into the units, which they had spent a lot of time spinning it out of the units. Yahoo moves around the chairs a lot. It's like sort of the Titanic that keeps moving around the deck chairs. But the product division essentially no longer exists.
Any sense as to the CEO, Scott Thompson's goal of where he wants to take Yahoo 2 years from now? I mean, you talk about a more nimble Yahoo, but do we know what the shape of that Yahoo may be?
Well, he's been very unspecific in meetings. In fact, somewhat rude to the employees still there. He's a tough guy. He tells it like it is. I guess that's how he likes to put it. But he's focusing on media, on commerce eventually, which he knows well as former president of PayPal, and data. That's his big thing. Is that the data Yahoo has is massive and can be used for presumably make monetization in some fashion. That's a difficult road because of privacy issues, but that's where they're going.
Yeah, and his letter today referenced the fact that change is never easy, and he also talked about how using that data to better enhance the experience for users and advertisers. But as we've seen from Google and Facebook, it's always challenging to try to make that leap.
Yeah, definitely, and that's not something Yahoo's known for. For heavy amounts of privacy. In fact, it's been one of the leaders in privacy protection. So it's a question of whether they're going to go that way, and if they can be effective. It's very difficult. There's lots of companies competing in the data manipulation area, and some of which are very nimbler than Yahoo is, and we'll see if they can do that. They certainly have a lot of data. It's just a question of what kind of data they have. Most of the people are there for email at this point, and they're media sites, and I don't know if you want to share things when you're on the media sites.
Right.
Do they have the people currently to be able to handle that shift, or are they going to have to hire other people in or do something to kind of boost that division?
Presumably they have people there, but they've lost a lot of really important people. The cuts in research to me are very troublesome. I mean, they had some of the finest researchers in these areas. It's just something they can't afford anymore. And the top researcher went to Google. The second top one went to Microsoft. Microsoft and Google understand the importance of these researchers who create these patents, which is, of course, at play also here. So it's a question of whether you want to work for Yahoo when there's such instability, and that's going to be the challenge that Scott's going to have. He certainly has done something rather bold here. He's a very fast-moving executive, and some of his moves, like the patent lawsuit against Facebook, come under question. But he's certainly doing stuff, and it's a question of whether we'll see how it works out for him.